A bloodbath happened this week on Wall Street in response to the new tariffs imposed by President Trump that I think are going to have massive ramifications on the comic book market, at least in the short term. And I think that we saw some of those yesterday in an absolutely brutal video put out by Dave from Comic Book Investments. And so I'm going to talk about what happened, where I think that we are headed, and how we should respond. So Dave put out a live stream where he watched the auctioning off of his 9.0 graded Incredible Hulk #1. Now, the last time that book sold was in 2022, and it went for $490,000. Now, of course, the comic book market overall has already come down since then, but he still thought that he would be able to get somewhere between $350,000 and $450,000. And in fact, about a month ago, before he sent the book to auction, he got an offer for $350,000, but he turned it down, both because, of course, he was hoping to get closer to that $450,000 mark, but also because this guy was going to have to pay in installments, and obviously, like all of us, he wanted the money a little earlier. But when the auction closed, it only went for $312,000.
Wow.
52,500. Let's go 50.
Wow. Dang. What did it end up? It ended up at 312. That's what it ended at. That sucks. Well, dang.
And that's before any fees are taken out. So really, Dave probably is getting closer to $250,000. And so he ended up taking a loss of close at least to $100,000 over what he could have had a month ago. And my goodness, I almost threw up just watching it. I can't imagine what was going through Dave's head, the horror as he watched no one betting on his book. And man, he handled it as well as someone could. Kudos to him. But yeah, obviously you could tell he was pretty much in shock. Maybe after he turned off the live stream, he went and threw up somewhere. But oh my goodness, it was absolutely heartbreaking. Now, I think there are likely several reasons why that book went for only, right, $312,000. But I think certainly one of the major ones was because that day was the beginning of this most recent bloodbath on Wall Street. Because, of course, if you're looking to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a comic book, then you're ultra wealthy. I would imagine at least 90% of the people in the market for that type of comic book have a net worth of at least $10 million. And over the past few weeks, and it accelerated over these last couple of days, the Wall Street has gone down over 10%. And so if you're worth $10 million, you've all of a sudden lost over $1 million. And when you have those types of losses, then you start thinking to yourself, hey, I think I'm going to hold off buying this Hulk #1 for now. Maybe in a year or two when the market rebounds, I might get back in the market. But for now, I'm holding off. And if you've got any kind of money in the stock market, if you've been watching the Dow over the last few days or NASDAQ, then you've been just as sick as Dave has been in watching his Hulk 1. I mean, it's been brutal. It's been hard to swallow, and so while Dave is in shock, many of the rest of us are also in shock, and we're like, hey, it's not time for a Hulk 1. Now, I don't have the type of money to buy a Hulk 1, but I'll tell you that this year I was looking to buy one of my major grails, Fantastic Four #5. First appearance of Dr. Doom. I was seriously thinking about doing that this year, but the way the stock market is after the last couple of days, I don't see that happening. Now, yeah, eventually I do believe the stock market will rebound and it'll be fine. But it's hard times right now. I've consistently invested in the market for several years, and last year I made a lot of money on it. This year, not so much. And so just like I've pulled out of the Fantastic Four number 5 market, I think a lot of those mega wealthy people have pulled out of the Incredible Hulk number 1 market. And of course, the fewer buyers there are, the lower the demand there is for any book, and the lower the demand there is, then of course that's going to be lower values. And so I think that's what happened, at least partially, to that Incredible Hulk number 1. That maybe if that auction had even happened just a month ago, you'd have had some more people watching it. But just those people kind of at the bottom of the ultra wealthy, they're like, nah, man, I can't do it. But then you've got some people, that are $50, $100 million. They can absorb this stock market loss a bit easier. I'm sure they're not excited about it, but they've still got a little bit of money to play around, and so can still afford to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a comic book. And then, of course, like I said, 90% are like that. There's just some maniacs. Maybe they're spending their whole life savings on something like this. I don't think that's a good idea, and probably most people who have that type of money, again, aren't looking to blow it all on a comic book. But yeah, who knows? That 312 guy, maybe that was every last penny he had. But I think this is probably just the beginning of major keys dropping in value once again, at least until Wall Street rebounds. So how should we respond? Well, first of all, if you have any major keys, then unless you need the money, I wouldn't be looking to sell them. I would just be looking to hold until the market rebounds. Same thing with stocks. The tempting thing to do right now is to sell all the stocks that you have. But this is how people get rich. If it's people panic sell, stock market goes way down, and then the rich who are patient and who have the courage of their convictions, that's what you need right now. If you have any type of investment, you need the courage of your convictions. It takes courage not to panic sell. And when people panic sell, that's when the rich swoop in, buy up those stocks at a discount, and become even more wealthy than they were. In a time like this, people see that stocks are on sale, and so they're not looking to sell their stocks. They're looking to hold, but even to buy more. And I think that's probably how we should think about the comic book market. That, again, unless you need the money, obviously there's things you might need in an emergency. But personally, I'm not going to sell any of my major keys anytime in the near future because I think they're going to go down. I mean, who knows? There's other reasons they could go down beyond the stock market. I'm holding. And then in a few months, when I think we're at least close to the bottom, then I might be looking to buy keys because I think these keys are going to be on sale just like stocks are. I mean, I think that dude got a great deal. It's hard to say. $312,000 on comic books, a lot of money. Yeah, I can't even imagine that. But if you're thinking of somebody 3 years ago paid $490,000, and I can't imagine what that guy is feeling. I mean, maybe he's like Elon Musk, and so the money doesn't really matter to him. But if you're just a regular dude with $10 million and you spent $490, and then you see this sell for $312, thrown up all over the place. That's what I would be doing at least. But I think comics are going to be good to target. Maybe I would say maybe 6 months from now, we might be at the bottom of the market. Our stocks will start to rebound some. I don't think the stock market is going to rebound in the next few days or something like that. I mean, it always goes up and down some, but this bloodbath, I think it's going to take a little bit of time. Especially, obviously, there's still so much uncertainty with the tariffs. And I think, I'm not going to argue for or against the tariffs or for or against Trump or whatever. There's reasons to think either way is right, and that's a debate for another day. But I mean, what there's no debate on is that the Wall Street went through the bloodbath because of the tariffs. Even if they end up being the right thing in the long term, in the short term, it's causing a lot of pain. And I feel bad for my friend Dave, who's going through a lot of pain now. And even though I didn't lose out on a comic book, Dave, if you see this, I feel the pain in the overall stock market. It's not a fun time to have some money. But if we have the courage of our convictions, once again, there are going to be some great buying opportunities both in the stock market and in comic books, I believe, in the next 6 months. Now, of course, investing in any of those is inherently risky. Who knows what exactly will happen? But I think if history is any indication, those markets will rebound at some point, especially the stock market. Yeah, the collectibles market is different. It doesn't have as much intrinsic value as companies that are profit making. I don't know. That's a discussion for another day. But tell me, what do you think? How shaken up are you by the stock market? How shaken up are you by the comic book market? Are you laughing at all of us? And one of the things I felt so bad for Dave in the comments, people politicize everything, of course. And maybe you'll politicize this video if you're watching. Feel free. I've got strong skin. Tell me in the comments what you think of whether these tariffs are good or not. But Dave's made it known in some of his previous videos that he's been a big Elon Musk fan, and voted for Trump. And of course, they bear responsibility for these tariffs. Once again, whether they're right or wrong, I'm not going to get into that today. But a lot of people in the comments just hammering him. That's what you get for supporting Elon Musk or whatever. Yeah, sorry that you had to deal with that. I mean, guy just lost $100,000. Why are you going to pile on him, man? He feels bad enough as it is. Even if you think, Elon's wrong thinking, Trump's wrong thinking, just don't pile on the guy. Don't kick a guy while he's down. But tell me, what do you think? If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so now. Like, comment, thank you.